Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Untangle 101 webinar series. Today we'll be discussing Untangle and its product NG Firewall and how it can help you in your network environment. So if you're unfamiliar with Untangle, this is the perfect webinar for you. My name is Shannon Miles and I'm part of the product marketing team here, and I'll be your host today. I also have with us our Director of Sales, Bensten, who will be going through this presentation as well as the demonstration and showcasing everything that NG Firewall can do. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. If you have any audio issues, please be sure to select the correct audio preference on the right-hand side. If you do select to use a phone, you will need to dial in and use the access code provided. Just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, and we will send out a link to the recording tomorrow with that you can rewatch the areas and share with your colleagues. We'll also be answering questions throughout this presentation, so please be sure to submit your questions to the Q&A box. We have a couple people on staff to help answer questions. And as always, if we don't get to your question or if you have something very specific or want a specific demo of the product, you can always email us at sales@untangle.com and we'll reach out to you. And with that, I will pass it over to Katie.
Awesome. Thanks, Shannon, and thanks for everybody who's able to attend today. And if you're catching this on the back end with the recording, thanks for taking the time to check us out, and hopefully you'll leave with some information that you didn't come with. So let's kind of talk about what we're going to go over today quickly. Let's talk about Untangle as a whole. I'll go over the product and what we can do for you and your network. I'll jump into a demo and go over the interface and show you a little bit about each of the settings within Untangle. We'll talk about a few of the case studies in terms of verticals and where you might fall and how Untangle can help you. And we'll end the session with some Q&A. But as Shannon mentioned, feel free to ask your questions in the question box, and any of our staff members on the back end will get to you as quickly as possible. If we aren't able to get to you, we'll have somebody follow up on the back end and get your questions answered as best as possible. So who's Untangle? We've been around. We were founded in 2013. Over the years, we've grown into what you see today. Our product has evolved and really turned into a mixed-use product in terms of the verticals that we can source or meet. We kind of fit the need of many different industries. And I see that as a benefit, not necessarily a specific product for maybe the ed or the government sector, but really we fit hotels, hospitals, coffee shops, small to medium businesses just down the street. That's where we found our niche and where we have been successful over the years. So regardless of what vertical or industry you're coming from, Untangle can help you, and hopefully you'll see the benefits of the product and how it can fit the needs of your specific network. So we're located in San Jose, California, is where our headquarters is located. We also have a remote site in Arvada, Colorado, and some of our staff team members are there as well. So we split time between both offices, and you might speak to people from either of those offices at any point in time. We're continuing to grow our customer base, as you see here, and we hope that those on the line today or anybody coming in the near future will continue and grow that number with us. So let's see how we can help you here. We, as you can see, have gained some great awards in the last couple of months. We're on the Inc. 500, the Deloitte Fast 500. We've got Best in Biz. Our customer support team continues to win awards with customer satisfaction. So we have your back, and we're here to help you in any way we can. So you might say, I have a need for a firewall or a filter. I might not have anything in place in my network, or maybe I do have some existing technologies that I want to leverage and continue to use, but how is Untangle going to fit my need? So we have two ways to look at it. You can look at putting us in a transparent bridge mode. If you have an existing firewall, you would put us between the firewall and the main switch. So basically, we're a seamless, transparent bridge. That becomes your filter. You continue to use your existing firewall, and really your filtering comes from the interface that we offer. That's if you have an existing piece of hardware that you want to continue to use. Maybe you don't have anything in line and you want to use Untangle as the router and firewall, as well as the filtering device. You would basically put us in line, leverage the powerful network tools that we include, and as long as all of the devices are filtering through the Untangle, your filtering will be seamless. So those are the two deployment options and how you would start looking at Untangle and how it would fit into your network. Either way works great. We don't have a preference on how you utilize it. It really is your preference on how it's going to fit best in your network. So that is kind of your decision and how you want to move forward with the installation. So what problems do we run into as network administrators? Of course, we're always worried about security. We want visibility and management from the highest level, and whether that be in the network setting or creating the idea of productivity at its highest is kind of where we are. And having the knowledge as to what's going on in your network and having the understanding of what steps to take towards controlling your network really is what Untangle is here to do for you and with you. So again, knowledge is power, and understanding what your problem is first, figuring out how to fix it, and then utilizing the products to its fullest capacity. Again, complexity, bandwidth issues, connections, threats that continue to bog us down as users. Where do you fall? I'm sure any of you on this call fall into all four of these categories very simply. Your networks become more complex with the devices that are being brought on. Your bandwidth is being hogged down with all of the new apps and sites that are being visited. Connections are slowed. Maybe you have a Wi-Fi network that you're installing for your patrons or your guests that come into your office. Those IoT devices, those mobile devices that are connecting to your network, that bogs down your network as well. And then the continued threats that continue to hit us all. We're not separated out as well. Just being the company here at Untangle, we get those threats as well, and utilizing our product has been successful in a lot of ransomware attacks, crypto locker attacks, anything that you see in the field today, we can help you with. So it really is just kind of understanding what your needs are and figuring out where to go from there. Again, as I mentioned to you a couple of slides ago, we have Untangle allows you to have visibility and gain control over your network. So really, you're taking the stance to say what you want to happen on your network versus the alternative of having the devices do whatever they want. You're still enabling your employees to be successful, whether it be from a productivity standpoint or maybe there are some reasons why Facebook should be allowed or certain apps should be allowed on your network. Untangle gives you the ability to kind of say what you want to happen while still allowing productivity to be at its highest. And we'll kind of touch on that as I get into our demo in just a bit. Shannon, how are we doing on questions? Are we? I feel like I'm going a little bit fast, but hopefully everybody's still with us.
No, we're good.
Okay, great. Good. All right. So let's talk about the products. Let's get into, this is the dashboard view, and I'll show you the demo. I'll dive into that shortly, but Untangle really is an overall product. And what we can do for you is fit the need of basically creating a platform where you install apps that you allow filtering to happen on your network, and then you get visibility with the reports. We have customized reports. We have default reports. And the ability to drill down on any aspect of your network traffic is what Untangle shines in. The product is going to work for you, but the reports are really going to work with you and show you not only what's happening, but what you can modify to help your network be working at its best. So really, Untangle is security that fits you and your needs. So within the overall platform, Untangle, you can look at Untangle as protection, connection, filtration, management, performance, and then a few add-ons to kind of customize it to be your own product, so to speak. So within each of these categories, as you see here, the different apps that Untangle offers will kind of filter in under each of them accordingly, whether it be protection with the firewall capabilities, the virus blocking, filtration with the web filtering, SSL inspection, allowing you to block HTTPS traffic, and so forth. Performance with bandwidth, setting quotas and limits per user or per group. That really is going to allow you to maintain the best scenario on your network, as well as keeping everybody in line and online. And we'll kind of touch on those as we look at the apps. So before we hop into the demo, just keep in mind the benefits of Untangle and what we're going to look at from the app side. Again, we're helping you keep your employees on task. You're going to prioritize your business critical cloud-based applications. You're going to prevent policy violations, filter. You're going to respond to incidences quickly with your comprehensive reporting that you can drill down into, and you can see where the problem child is, or you can see the problem IP address. And whether you want to quarantine that address or put them in a penalty box with our bandwidth control, you really are telling that device what you want it to do on your network. And that is key with utilizing the Untangle solution. It's not the employee or the device telling you what it wants to do, it's you telling it what you're allowing it to do. So as I alluded to in the first slide, you can look at Untangle in a bridge or a route or firewall mode, and deciding on how to deploy it is really the next step. Untangle has a suite of appliances that you see here on the screen. We go from as small as a U25 to an M3000. So we offer appliances, you have deployment options, and then software would be added to these according to your size of the network. So the U25 is a great little box for branch offices, smaller offices. It supports about 25 to 30 devices on the network and gives you the full functionality of a firewall filter. And then we go up to an M3000, which supports larger deployments, schools, universities, government, municipalities, and the like. So the larger your deployments, we can still support you as well. So if you have any questions on the appliances, at the end of the demonstration, we'll go back to the website and I'll show you some resources and where to find some additional information on all of these devices. But again, if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to email sales@untangle.com and we can help you figure out what works best in your network. So with that, I will take over and push you into a demo. And what I'm demoing today is actually our U25. That's on the back side here at Untangle and at the headquarters. But the interface is going to be the same across the board, whether you use our appliances, put us in a VM, or you're leveraging an existing piece of hardware. Regardless of how you set it up, this interface is going to be the same across the board. And what I am so excited about with the new 12 release, and we're actually getting ready to launch a new version, but with 12.0 we actually launched this awesome dashboard. And what that gave us is the ability to see what's actually happening on your network in real time. It's fully customizable, where some of our other vendors or competitors, they give you a dashboard. That's nothing new. But what Untangle stands out in is we offer the ability to customize this dashboard. So you're really only seeing the information that you want to see, whether it be with customized reports that you've created for an employee or a set of devices or a range of IP addresses. You can create custom reports and add those reports onto this dashboard view. We call them widgets, and each of these different widgets are specific to, these are actually set by default, but again, you can customize and add widgets and move them around. And it is fully responsive, so if you're moving, traveling from site to site and you have an outage or you have an issue or maybe a spike in your CPU load, you can look on your iPhone or you can look on your smartphone or tablet and work to manage your networks across the board. So it doesn't matter where you are, you'll still have access to view. And again, you can manage the widgets here very simply. You can add new widgets or you can add based on a report that you push. So that's something unique with Untangle, that some of our other vendors don't do. So keep that in mind as you're researching products or you're trialing the product, and play around with the customized reports and see what information you can gauge from your network use. So with that said, this is our virtual attempt at a server rack. How do you think about the old server racks or the rooms full of servers that take up space and continue to we're always going to have those, so to speak. But Untangle has taken a different stance and kind of given you a virtual rack. So within this rack, this becomes your the idea of where you're going to install all of your apps. So if I was to click on the Apps tab, this is as easy as it is to install apps with Untangle. I click this button and it's going to go to my rack. I'm going to click Bandwidth Control. Let's add Virus Blocker. And all of these are installing, as you see. When you see the checkbox with Done, those are now in my rack. So I'm going to do that, and let's add in Spam Blocker and Captive Portal. So if I go back to my apps view, now you see that all of those apps are installed in my rack. And if you don't notice, here on the 14-day trial, we actually offer that to all of our customers. If you are not familiar with the product and you have not heard about Untangle, try it for free. We offer you a 14-day trial of the full product. You're going to get the full capability to filter. You're going to get the reports at the end of the day or the end of the trial, or whenever you need them. You can customize it to email you at the end of the day. However you want to look at the product overall, you have the ability to do so. So within that, that's how easy it is to install the apps. If I was to turn off an app, it's simply the click of this button here and turns off the functionality. So what does that really mean? If you have a firewall in place, then you don't necessarily need to use the firewall functionality that Untangle offers you. Let's show you here. So if I install the firewall functionality, and maybe you're using a Cisco ASA or you're using an existing firewall that you want to continue to use, that's no problem. We don't care. We still allow you to leverage the filtering capabilities within Untangle, and you would simply just turn off the functionality of the firewall. It doesn't change the product. It just changed the way that you're using it specifically in your network. So that's how easy it is. And I just wanted to make sure that that was clear with, regardless if you want to use the product or not, you can simply turn it on and off as needed. So I think the idea of demoing this rack and interface really boils down to, let's show you a few of the key apps that Untangle offers you. Web filtering being our top selling product. It's a robust content filter. It allows you to block, categorize, flag activity on your network. So let's dive into that one first, and I think that'll be the overall selling point of Untangle and why you can utilize us over another vendor. So within the interface, you've got all of this information listed. Again, this is a demo box, and unfortunately I don't have much traffic or any traffic going through it, but you get the idea and the gist of what's actually happening here. So within web filtering, we actually leverage a third-party vendor called Zavello, and what they allow us to do is we've taken best of breed in the industry and taken their products and leveraged them against the Untangle interface. So what Zavello does and allows us to do is keep you safe as well as keep it dynamically updated from their side. So what we can do here is if we look at the blocked categories, within Web Filter, you've got 143 categories that you can select. By default, you've got some different botnets and child abuse images. The common reasons for filtering by default are set by Untangle. Sometimes maybe you don't agree with that, and that's not a problem. You would simply uncheck the box. But I do want to bring to light the difference between a block and a flag. And since most of you on here are either new to Untangle or maybe you're not a customer yet and you're deciding on what product will work best for you, Untangle allows you to block and flag. And the main difference between that is block is, of course, blocking specifically. You will get a block page based on those specific categories or requirements, but flagging really tells you more than that. It tells you what's actually happening, and it still allows traffic to flow through your network as it normally would, and allows you as the IT administrator to say, let me do a 2-week review on my network or a 2-day review and really see what's happening without blocking happening. So ideally, what happens when people know they're being watched? They stop that activity. That's a problem for you as an administrator because when you're setting up the Untangle or you're maintaining the Untangle 6 months out, a year out, you still want to know what's actually happening and what people are trying to visit versus what's just being blocked so that you can make those changes accordingly. So flagging the traffic will allow you to see network activity that is still flowing through the network and still happening, but then you can make the changes on the back end accordingly. So that's the main difference between block and flag. And again, there's 143 categories here. You have full visibility to what's actually happening. And again, Zavelo leverages technology throughout the industry. So if websites come online that are not connected to your Untangle, or they're not in line with what's already categorized, Zavelo does a great job with putting them, dynamically updating those sites to their database so that you're continuing to be filtered in real time. So keep that in mind as you look at different products as well. Our filtering gives you a ton of accessibility to visibility on your network. Maybe you want to block sites specifically if it's not within the categories, or it's not within certain areas of your need. You can create your own block list here. We also block by file type. Maybe you don't want PDFs, or you don't want EXE files, or Java files, or anything like that downloaded on your network, because again, CryptoLocker came through emails. Sometimes that becomes a nuisance or a risk. You have the ability to block or flag any activity that's happening download in terms of file types. Maybe it's MIME types. Maybe it's updates. Again, EXE files, Apple updates, downloads, that type of thing. Windows updates. Maybe you don't want everything to happen at one time, and you would prefer to do it as an IT administrator on your own time. You can block the ability for those files or MIME types to be downloaded. Again, block and pass as well. Maybe you have sites that are visited often. Maybe you're an accounting firm or a law firm, and you have certain sites that need to be accessed by all of your employees, and maybe it's categorized under one thing for the filtering, but you as the administrator don't want to have to go back every other day to add these URLs into your filtering. You would add add those URLs to the pass list and create a list for yourself. And moving on almost to the end of the web filtering and the benefits here, maybe you have clients that you want to just pass. Untangle looks at it in two ways. You can pass clients altogether from the filtering, or you can pass clients with a bypass password. And what that allows you to do is kind of have freedom to, maybe you have a trusted employee that you still want to protect their device in your network, but you give them access to view whatever they want to view. You can set up passwords, bypass passwords for these clients. And again, that would all be set up under these advanced rules here, as well as passing the client or the IP address in range. Depends on how you want to look at it. So again, there's a lot to look at within the web filter, but I think the most important is actually going to be your reports. And the reports functionality is actually built into all of our different apps, whether you're looking at firewall, bandwidth control, IPsec VPN, however you're looking at the Untangle interface, the reports will show. And I'm not sure where the reports are here on this one, but I can also show you from the online demo. And I'll circle back with that in just a second. So I apologize, it's not pulling here, but it might be because we don't have much traffic going through on this specific device. So let's go back to the interface. Shannon, do we have any questions here?
There was some questions about web filter. If you can, do any specific blocking for a person or a user.
Yeah. Totally.
You answered a lot of questions about the file types and the that kind of thing. But those were some of the common questions that came up.
Yeah, so I think I'll go into a little bit more depth with that. But I think when you're looking at blocking a specific IP address or a user, that's where Policy Manager allows you to really be ahead of the game. So if we looked at Policy Manager, look at Untangle as one instance, and then maybe you want to have different channels or traffic flows through the Untangle itself. So in a school setting, let's think about that for a second, or even a business setting, depends. It doesn't matter. Untangle is going to fit the need of your business or your organization. You have your CEO, you have your exec team, you have your interns, you have your teachers versus students. Policy Manager allows you to really take one Untangle instance and filter based on the group or that IP address or the device. So let's look at Policy Manager. We just looked at web filtering, and you can look at it from an overall perspective, or you can look at it from being able to create policies within Untangle. Give me just a second. Seems like it locked up on me. I'm not sure what happened here. Hang on 1 second for me. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's look at Policy Manager again. So I mentioned web filter as a whole, but maybe you want to have different filters for different groups within Untangle. So if I was to look here, you've got a default rack and a teacher rack. It's as simple as this. Let's add in, I'm going to do a test rack for this demo specifically. We're going to do a test, and we want to create our own. So there are two ways to look at Policy Manager. You can set up a default rack with default policies so that everybody kind of starts fresh, or you can say, you know what, I'm going to be specific with this particular rack, whether it be a teacher versus student rack, or maybe you want to have a rack for yourself or one employee in your company. You can just say none, and what that's going to do is allow you to set up your own policies. So if I do that and then I apply, now you see I've got the default rack, I've got a teacher rack, and I've got a test rack. I actually did this teacher rack earlier this morning when I logged in, but you'll have the idea when we look at the racks overall. So it's going to save. So now if you're back in the main interface, you can click on this box, or you can actually go through the Untangle Policy Manager feature as well. So if I was to click on the default policy, you see that this is what's showing here. These are the apps within my default rack. If I wanted to click on my teacher rack, you see that I'm starting fresh. And Policy Manager is already included because you have to have Policy Manager within the rack to maintain it or to create it. So let's do this. If I look at my test rack, you see that there are no apps within that rack. So if I want to install apps, I'm going to simply click on my apps tab, and I'm going to install what I want specifically for this rack. So this test rack is going to have web filter, bandwidth control, SSL Inspector, application control, and let's do virus blocker in this one. So now you see that all of these are have been downloaded, and they're in the apps view or the rack view. So now I have my test rack you see here. Now I have web filter, virus blocker, bandwidth control, SSL, and application control. That's been created for this test rack alone. Again, if I go back to my default policy, it's a little bit different. So you're basically taking one Untangle instance and creating multiple different channels within the Untangle. That's huge for businesses that have different levels or hierarchies within the organization, where not everybody wants to be filtered the same way. Or maybe you want to have access to certain areas of the network for certain employees where others shouldn't have that access. This allows you to take one instance and modify it or manage it the way that you need it that fits your organization best. So again, I think, Shannon, that answers the question from the attendee there about setting up different racks or policies for a certain group of IPs or maybe a certain employee. Policy Manager will allow you to do that. And if you weren't aware and you actually use Active Directory, Untangle integrates with Active Directory and Radius. So if you've got existing sites or employees that you have listed, you can integrate that into Untangle with our directory connector feature. So hopefully that is a little bit clearer. Again, if you have any questions on setting up policies or how that would work in your organization, feel free to email us at sales or support and we can help you. I do want to keep in mind that the 14-day trial that we offer is free, and you actually do get paid support within that 14-day trial. So our tech team will help you set up the Untangle. We can help you configure any of the settings that you're looking at, and we can help you review the reports so that you're really seeing what you're going to get and what the benefit of Untangle will be before you buy. I think the product speaks for itself, but allowing you to install and play around with the product at no cost is actually beneficial to everybody on this call. Did you have a question, Shannon?
Yeah, so there's some questions about the difference between the paid versus the light apps.
Sure.
So I thought you could go into
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Sure, I'm sure you saw the light apps over here on this install page. And the main difference is really going to be the signature databases that are used and the time that it is updated. So if we looked at web filter alone, that's the biggest difference between the light and the paid. The paid version of WebFilter leverages a third-party vendor that has 143 categories and 450 plus million URLs within their database. That is updated dynamically. It's always being updated, and you're getting the best that we have in the market, or the best that we have at that time. If you were to look at the WebFilter Lite, let's look at those numbers. You're looking at 15 categories, and you're looking at less than 150 million URLs in the database. And I can't tell you when those are being updated. They're community-based. It's focused on updates when we can, we as the company and as well as the community. So really, you could be setting yourself up for risk by using the Lite version if you are looking for maybe SIPA compliance, or you're maybe looking for PCI compliance within a solution. Sometimes the WebFilter Lite works for some customers, and while it is a good product, you see the main differences between the signature databases that are being used and the times that it's being updated. So the time of day, of course, and how often it's being updated. And that's across the board. So if you're looking at a paid app versus a Lite app, you will see the main difference across the board for the signature databases as well as the consistency with updating. So hopefully that's a little bit clear.
Yeah, great.
A little more clear, so to speak, excuse me.
Okay. Thanks, Katie.
Sure. So let's go back to the apps. I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but we'll go through just a couple more of the features here. I think bandwidth control is a good one to step into as well. And actually, I apologize. Let me step back a second. WebFilter in line with SSL Inspector. Let's talk about that, because really if you're not blocking HTTPS traffic, you're really not doing anything on your network. So before I jump into bandwidth, let's chat about SSL Inspector. And I don't think I downloaded it on this one. Let me install that one. Excuse me. So let's look at the settings within SSL Inspector. This really is, it allows full decryption of HTTPS traffic and SMTP traffic so that applications can be, encrypted along the way. Let's think about it in layman's terms, or let's think about it in a hypothetical situation. If you are an IT administrator and you're trying to block Facebook, and you don't have SSL Inspector installed, or you don't have filtering in place, your students, they're getting smarter, or your employees are getting smarter day by day, and they will simply circumvent your filter by going to HTTPS traffic if the site already doesn't do it itself. So if you have WebFilter in place, but you don't have SSL Inspector, you're really not doing anything, because it's going to bypass your filter and go to that site. So WebFilter and SSL Inspector go hand in hand. Let's talk about adding in Policy Manager. If you don't have WebFilter and you don't have SSL Inspector, or you don't have Policy Manager, without Policy Manager, everybody in your organization is going to have the same policies and rules within the rack. So Policy Manager allows you to take your web filtering settings, and it allows you to take the SSL inspection or the HTTPS traffic and filter it based on the device or the group of or range of IP addresses. So again, hand in hand, WebFilter, SSL Inspector, in line with Policy Manager and Active Directory. Again, all of the reports that you're going to see, and I'll show you those. I apologize, I couldn't get it. Maybe it'll load here. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like there's no traffic flowing through this box. That's okay. I'll show you how to see the reports after in just a second. What was it? Let me go back. We were talking about the ability for web filtering, Policy Manager, and SSL Inspector to work hand in hand. So hopefully you get the idea of Untangle is synergistic in its apps, and that we all work better together, and that they kind of lean on each other for different areas within the network. So hopefully that's more clear. So I'm going to go back and let's finish up the day, and then I'll move along with the demo. Again, if you need a one-on-one demo, or if you have any specific questions pertaining to your network as a whole, we might want to take that offline and kind of look at your network overall and figure out what solution works best for you. But we can set up a one-on-one demo for you. Anybody in sales can help, as well as in our support side. We're happy to answer questions for you. So let's finish up. Let's look at bandwidth control. I think this is a cool app as well. And we might need to load this one more time, I'm sorry. Not sure what's going on. Technology is great when it works, right? Just kidding. Okay, so let's look at bandwidth control. Bandwidth control allows you to set quotas. So maybe you have an overall network bandwidth allotment per month or per week or however you separate it. If you're a hotel, maybe you have members or guests that are staying for 2 days or 2 weeks or however you want to, however it's managed. And you want to set limits on the bandwidth that those devices or those users can have access to. So bandwidth control allows you to set up quotas per group or per user. Again, that works in conjunction with your policy manager because it allows you to set limits for that specific group of IPs. Maybe it's your accounting team or your marketing team or your sales team or your students, your first graders or your fifth graders, using Chromebooks if you've got OneonOne, however you set it up. Bandwidth control allows you to set limits as well as quotas. And if those quotas or limits are met, you can put devices or users in a penalty box. So think of a hockey game. Somebody has a foul or has an issue on the ice. You put the athlete in the penalty box, and that's set 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however you want to do it. But what does that really mean? That means that the overall network or the team on the ice is still functional, meaning your network and your accounting team or your marketing team still has access to do their work and they're productive, but that penalty box athlete or IP address or device that was causing issues on the network or doing something they shouldn't, that specific network traffic is going to be slowed. So either they're going to kick themselves off or you as the IT administrator are going to save the rest of your network and allow productivity to still be at its highest. And after a while, that employee or that device is going to say, all right, I give up, and they're going to continue back to what they should be doing versus, BitTorrents or streaming videos or music or anything like that that you as an administrator have denied access to on your network. So again, your bandwidth control allows you, the ability to set limits or quotas within the Untangle box itself. And again, you can set up different racks or channels that you can then manage and modify based on your needs specifically. So I think that will kind of give us an end to the demo, but what I did want to show you is our website is full of information. So again, I apologize I couldn't show you the demo reports, but let's see if you missed anything or you have new employees or you have team members or friends that you want to show the product to, and maybe they don't have time to watch the demo, you can actually go to our website, and under the NG Firewall tab, you have an online demo here. And if I clicked on reports here, this is where you can see all of the reports. I apologize we weren't able to see it in the demo side. I think it's because we didn't have any traffic flowing. But if I was to look at a specific feature, let's look at web filter, and let's look at the blocked web usage. This will load, and then the traffic or the blocked pages that are happening within your network will then populate based on this. And you can group them, you can look at different types of graphs, and if you wanted to look at the categories based on size or sites, however you want to look at it. This is, again, by default, these are all of the reports that we offer, but you can set up conditional formats here and create your own reports. So maybe you want to have a specific employee, and hopefully you guys can see this down here a little bit lower, but maybe you want to look at this different protocols here, and you want to do it based on session ID or timestamp, username. If you're using Active Directory, you can set up specific reports for that device or that user. And then again, these customized reports that you're creating can be set up on your dashboard via a widget. So if you have any questions on the reports or you need help analyzing any of that information, we're happy to help you here at Untangle. Again, the visibility that Untangle is giving you in your network is huge. And this is just the web filter. If we were to look at virus blocker, if we were to look at spam blocker, you're getting all of these different reports within the product itself. So those will populate over time and over the use of the product.
And I also want to mention there's a lot of questions about the reports. We do have a Tech Talk series, which are more technical webinars, and we have we've done basically all of the paid apps so you can go check out those. We did a few on webinar on the reports, sorry, as well. So if you want to get a little more information on how to create reports, how to make custom reports, utilize the reports app, you can check those out.
Yeah, awesome. And as you see here on the screen, I clicked on resources, and then I went down to the webinars and videos. This is where the webinar from today will be posted, as well as any of our previous webinars on our YouTube channel. John Coffin, our Director of QA, actually does a great job with our Tech Talk sessions, and he kind of goes over how to install the product and how to set it up. So it's a little more in depth than what we're going over today, but if you're in that space, then go for it, and we're happy to help you along the way.
And also want to reiterate that we do have various resources that Katie mentioned. We have the forums, which is a community for you to go on and ask your questions, see if other people are having customization issues or want to do something. We have our engineers on hand, always there answering questions. And we have our wiki, which is our technical documentation. So if you're looking for a little bit more technical information than what's provided on the website, this is where you need to go. Goes into each app and what it can do, how to set it up, gives you kind of a breakdown into everything. So, and I know there were a lot of questions about that, so hopefully that resource will be helpful for you.
Awesome. And if you don't find the answer that you're looking for, again, email sales or email support@untangle.com, and we will help you there. We're in here all the time, and we understand that sometimes it's just not as clear when you're coming from the outside and trying to learn a product as well. So let us know what we can do to help. So with that, I'm going to hop back over to the slide deck, and we're going to finish up for today. I did want to follow up with some case studies that we have. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, Untangle really fits the need of multiple different verticals. And whether you're a school or a sheriff's department or a boys and girls club, a YMCA, however you fit into the industry mold, Untangle will fit your needs. And here are a few of our happy customers who have found success within the Untangle solution and have managed to not only protect their students and their staff or their employees, but they have found success with managing their network overall and really taken their job as an IT administrator up a notch with the visibility that they have now with Untangle. So keep that in mind, and if you have any questions or you're in a specific industry and you're looking for some help, let us know, and we're happy to maybe get a reference for you. We're happy to set up a demo for you, and we'll go from there. So I'll give just another minute for Shannon to ask any questions that came through, and we'll end the day at that.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Just a few questions that came up. There was some question on pricing and how the licensing works. Could you go over that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Untangle does licensing probably similar to a lot of our competitors, that we are licensing based on devices. So what we consider to be a device are unique IP addresses, and whether that be a desktop, a laptop, a mobile device, or a server, those would be the devices that you consider towards licensing. Now, a lot of you are going to have VoIP phones. You're going to have Wi-Fi networks where different devices come online. VoIP phones can be bypassed. If you have devices on your network that you do not care to filter, whether it be a printer, fax scanner, or anything like that, you can set those up to bypass the Untangle filter so that it doesn't go against your license count. And I'll show you where to go to get some ideas on pricing as well. If we go back to the main Untangle website, if you click on this Buy tab here, it actually brings you to a configurator where you can find anything that you need. So as I was mentioning throughout the demo, Untangle works better together, and our complete offering is going to be your best option, not only from the product perspective, but also in the price point. By the time you add 2 and 3 modules together, you're already paying the complete package price, and you're getting the benefit of all of our apps. So this NG Firewall complete package, if we were to look at up to 25 devices for 1 year, that price is going to be $540. And you can configure this however you need. So maybe your organization is a little bit larger. You're going to select the up to 150 devices, and that will give you the price points here. If you are a school or a nonprofit or a government institution, we have special pricing for you. You're going to select the public sector or nonprofit complete packages. Those have discounts built into them for your organization specifically. So if you're a public school, you're going to look at the public sector complete. If you're a library or church or religious organization, you're going to look at these packages accordingly because we have discounts for you as well. So again, if you just select this option under the product, you select the option for the size of your network and the term that you care to go with. We have monthly, 1, 3, and 5 years on any of our terms. Then you have the option to kind of configure a product that works best for you. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, the resources tab is going to be full of knowledge for you. Webinars and videos can be seen there as well. Or you have this online demo if you want to go back and play around with the interface and see what Untangle can do for you and your organization.
Just a few more questions, Katie.
Absolutely.
Since we have a little bit of time. There were some questions on our appliances. Do they have to buy us? Is there another option? Can they run it as a VM?
Sure. Great question. Yeah, Untangle built our brand based on a software offering that could be leveraged on existing hardware. But what we've seen over time is that maybe you want to have the convenience of a plug-and-play solution, or you want to have the ability to have everything managed under one vendor. So Untangle came out with a line of appliances, our U-Series appliances, that have basically fit the mold for people who not only maybe they don't have the ability to build their own box, they don't have the expertise, the time, whatever the issue is. Untangle fits the need as a plug and play. So you have, again, I went to NG Firewall, and we're going to look at the appliances tab. And then you're going to look at the different options. These size limits here within the U25 and so on, keep in mind that's kind of the number of devices that these specific devices are supporting, 25, 50, and so on. That's where we recommend to stay close to in terms of small, medium, and enterprise sizing. That's really where you want to look. Again, the specs are here listed for you. You can dive into each of these if you wanted to look at it specifically. It'll give you a little more information, features of the device itself, and a few tech notes that we've listed. So any of that can be used. If you are utilizing your own hardware, that's fine. Or if you wanted to use an OVA, or excuse me, a VM, we have provided an OVA file here for you online that you can download and run in a virtual environment. So all of those options are available to you.
Great, thanks, Katie. I think that's about it for the questions.
Awesome. Well, what we will do is finish up today, and I'll pass it back over to Shannon to close us out. I appreciate everybody's time, but I'll let Shannon finish up for the day.
Great, thanks so much, Katie. Hopefully that demonstration really showcased everything that Untangle can do for your network. As we mentioned, we're here for you if you have any questions or have a specific environment question. You know, how do I set this up in my school? How do I set it up in my dentist office? We can help you. Just contact us at sales@untangle.com or give us a call. You know, we'll figure out what can work for you. Please stay tuned for our next webinars. We're setting up our 2017 one, so keep an eye out on our website, and we hope to see you at our next one. Again, this webinar was recorded, so a link will be sent out tomorrow with it, as well as being posted on our YouTube channel. If you have specific technical questions or want to do deep dives into the different apps, we have, again, our Tech Talk series, so check out our YouTube channel. You can go in and listen to those and get really great configuration setups on those. Thanks again, Katie. Thanks to the team for answering questions. If we didn't get to your questions, please just email us at sales@untangle.com. We'll be happy to get back to you, and we hope everyone has a great end of the year.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.